All right, we got breaking news from Boston, where more charges have been filed against some of the parents caught up in the college admissions cheating scandal. Prosecutors say 16 parents, including actress Lori Loughlin and her husband, designer Massimo Giannulli, have now been charged with money laundering and conspiring to commit fraud. Loughlin and her husband are accused of allegedly paying $500,000 to help their two daughters get into the University of Southern California. Just yesterday, we learned that actress Felicity Huffman was among several parents who agreed to plead guilty in connection with the scandal. Joining us now to talk more about this is NBC News investigative reporter Tom Winter and NBC News correspondent Miguel Almaguer. Thanks to both of you for being here. Tom, first of all, these are more charges against people we already knew were going to be charged. So what's the distinction?
Right. So when you get charged on a complaint, which is what happened first, at some point you're either presented for a preliminary hearing, which almost never happens, or prosecutors go to a grand jury and say, hey, we want you to review the evidence. And if you vote for these charges, that person's then indicted. So that's what happened here today. What we have here is a classic carrot and stick. Basically, prosecutors, based on my understanding of what happened behind the scene, were very clear, saying, look, you can either plead guilty to the things that we've charged you with on a complaint, or you can, or you're going to be indicted and face additional charges, and that's where we are.
So it was a carrot and a stick. Some people took it.
Exactly. Yep.
Miguel, we know that Felicity Huffman is one of those people who took. It's not a deal. She pled guilty. She said what she had done, and as a result, or at least we're seeing that she's now not been charged additionally.
Yeah, and the guidelines for Felicity Huffman are anywhere from 4 to 10 months in federal prison. Her lawyers will argue that she's never been convicted of a crime before, and this is, of course, a white-collar crime, so she should serve no time in prison. But for Lori Loughlin, she could face certainly more charges. It appears as though prosecutors are really weighing their guidelines based on how much the defendants in this case paid for their children to cheat the system. Loughlin, as Tom mentioned, paid upwards of $500,000. Huffman paid only $15,000. When comparing Loughlin's complaint versus another parent who paid roughly the same amount, she was looking at about 2 years minimum in prison, according to the federal guidelines, if she had pled guilty. But now that she has not pled guilty and she has been charged with an additional count, that number could certainly go much higher.
Tom, talk to me about the conspiracy, the added charges. What do they relate to? The money laundering, for instance, how does that work into this?
So as far as the fact pattern, it's all the same. So what you saw in the indictment is the same as when you and I talked after Loughlin was first charged. Right. What we're adding here today is this money laundering charge, because if you're using those funds in an illegal way, and basically what they were saying is, well, you know, this is just a donation to this Key Foundation who helped out her daughter. This isn't something where we're actually paying for a service. Then at that point, you've committed fraud. And if you use funds to do that illegally, well, then you can be hit with the money laundering charge. So that's why we see this added today. And basically, you kind of have to tie it all together as part of the same crime, as part of a broader conspiracy.
Got it. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Tom Winter and Miguel Almaguer, thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.